Going on, guys? Welcome to the
You gotta redo the intro.
Welcome.
That's okay. Now it's 7 o'clock. Now it's like official time to start. That was a test.
That was
Yep.
early.
Good test run.
That's just a tease for the people here early. So what is going on, guys? Welcome to the Wednesday night live stream.
Still no sound.
Today, what do you mean no sound?
It says. Yeah.
No, there's a 30-second delay.
Oh, my bad.
Yep. All right. So today we have Moki, aka Inappropriate Reefer, and Jim, aka Telegraham. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well, thank you.
Excellent. Good to have you guys. Now today on kind of Reef Chat, Reef Roundtable, one thing that we were talking about earlier that kind of made me laugh is ways that you can get your spouse or your significant other into the hobby. So they're not just like giving you heck and be like, oh, no, not that tank again, right? You got to get them involved. You got to make them part of it. And it's going to help you be a little more successful with your tank because you have their buy-in as well. So first, kind of in the hot seat, I'm kind of curious from you guys. What have you done to get your significant others kind of into the hobby with you?
You're up, Mogi.
I'm up. Okay, so I was like tweaking around. I feel like my YouTube video is playing in the background, so I pause it. Hopefully the voice comes over. It's okay now, right?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So for me, it was a little tricky with Emily. Are you guys buckle down, ready for a slightly longer story?
We got it. Let's do this.
Okay.
All right. So the deal is that Emily was actually really afraid of fish. She has a phobia towards fish. What happened is that when she was, I think, like 5 or 6 years old, really young, right? She was living with her parents, and one night when she was up going to the bathroom, she stepped on something wet on the ground. So that traumatized her ever since, and ever since then she has this thing against fish. So when we started dating, it was something that we've been trying to get over.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually what did it for me is that I told her I want to find a baby clownfish for the nano tank, and I was hoping that she can help me pick one out. And on top of that, I had her name the fish as well. So I think like the fact that have her help pick out a fish, have her help name a fish, and then later on we kind of look at the fish interaction and stuff like that. I'll report back saying that, hey, guess what? Your fish is being picked on by this other fish. What do you want to do? Should we like, blah, blah, blah. So I try to get her involved in that way. So that slowly warms her up to it. Now it comes to a point where she's actually saying that, hey, this coral looks pretty cool. Or like, do you want a bigger tank? How about this shark right there? Shark looks cool. You need a big tank? Let's do a big tank. I'm the one kind of reading her. So that's kind of
really
like that's kind of like my little story and my way of doing this.
So it's like, baby, sorry, we can't have a shark yet. We don't have a bigger tank.
We'll slowly work our way there. We'll slowly work our way to a saltwater pond.
Okay, so quick question. When you said she stepped on something squishy in the night, was it actually a fish that jumped?
You have to ask her.
Okay.
Is that fear equal to yours of worms?
Oh man, see, I got over my fear of worms. Like I don't like them, but I can tolerate them. And I feel like Emily's slightly ahead of me. Like she could tolerate fish, and now she actually likes fish, I think.
That's good. She does. She totally does.
Yeah. But yeah,
Nice.
She stepped on a fish. It was like a neon texture, I think.
Yeah. Done. Okay, so getting her to help pick out a fish and name it was kind of the turning point.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you still have that fish?
Yeah, still doing really well.
Excellent.
And of course, the fish was not being picked on. They're just kind of communicating. You know, the clownfish, they kind of turn towards each other and shake. So that's what they're doing. Just kind of like communicating.
Nice. All right, Jim, how about you?
My different story. It's more of a wear down thing. Given the amount of hobbies I have, and there's been a lot of history there. Been together for a long time. Absolutely, she gave up a long time ago. So, although she's really not all that interested in what I'm doing with the tanks or whatever, all my crazy down there, she does want a larger tank. I think that is just the gateway to a larger house. So I'm on to her plan. So far, just sticking with the smaller system. But she supports, but she doesn't care.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a good way of putting it, actually.
Yep.
I think my wife's a similar thing. She likes it to an extent. I had one of her favorite fish before. It was a hippo tang that I sold, and she was mad at me for days because it was a terrorist in the tank, because that was like the one she was attached to. But every time I bought a new coral, it was like, nope, I don't like this one here. I'd move it over and drop it on another coral, and then the corals would fight and die. I'm like, this cost me like hundreds of dollars in corals. So eventually I sold it and then got a different one, and she was mad at me for days. So
Oh man.
she was slightly less attached after that, but she still likes it. She still looks at it, even though she pretends she doesn't. But
Yeah.
You
Similar
catch it
reaction.
sometimes, like, hey.
yeah. But yeah, I think getting them to, take them to the store, letting them pick out something for your tank and all that stuff, make sure it's reef safe, make sure it's compatible, but like letting them pick out one, name it, whatever, makes a big difference than them actually having more buy-in and be more attached to it, and then, which gives you a little more leeway with it.
Yeah, I mean, like tagging onto it. I've been going, well, at least like a year or two ago, I've been going to a lot of those fish events, right? Whether it's conventions and stuff like that. Usually it's not a day that Emily looks forward to, because like a full day fish of like fish talks, core talks, and whatnot. So one thing I tried to do is kind of like do a side trip somewhere while we're out there already.
Okay. That's a good idea.
So that kind of makes things a little bit more tolerable for her, and I try to be a little bit more conscious. Like if maybe there's a party at night with fellow fish nerds, I may have to skip out on those and just kind of do a night out of town with her as well. So that's kind of one other thing that I do.
Yeah, no, that works. How about you, Jim? You got it? Have you brought her to any shows?
No. I've taken my son, and he's getting to the age where he's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna stay home and play on the Xbox.
Fair enough.
Is your son into like coral keeping, reef tank, and stuff like that?
No, we'll see what happens when he gets a little bit older, but maybe a little younger. He was interested. There was an interest in marine biology there for a little while, which was awesome, because it would be a little bit cheaper than now he wants to be a vet. So we'll see how that all goes.
It's related. Derek, quick shout out. Thanks for the $5 super chat for the Radeon G5 fund.
Radeon G5 fund.
Yep. I currently have 2 XR15s over my 6-foot tank, so I need to work on more soon.
You got the G5, right?
No, not yet. Working on it. All in good time.
The pro or the blue?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
That's actually a very good question. They each have their advantages. I kind of actually like the blue anodized heatsink on the pro. The blue. I think it looks pretty cool. But the pro, you can get the exact same colors as the blue, but you get a little more umph if you wanted it to run up the other channels.
So think about that for a minute. The blue is just a few watts less, but to get AB plus, you run it full blast. So you're actually, unless you're going to run all channels on the pro at full power, you're running that pro at much less power than you would the blue.
Yes.
It would be interesting to see what the readings, not just spectral, but PAR, what you're getting out of the blue.
I will get back to you on that one.
Thank you.
So it'll be interesting to kind of compare the two and see the pro versus the blue. And basically, at the end of the day, if you're going to run AV plus, they can both do it. If you want a whiter tank, the pro gives you a little more options there, right? Where you'd be turning down the blues to get white out of the pro. So that's kind of my current view of it all, but I haven't had any hands on yet, so that one's a little to be determined.
Yeah,
Hopefully soon. Okay, Moki, how's your tank coming? I saw you finally got your plumbing finished.
Is it blurred? It's blurred, right?
It is blurred.
Let's keep it blurred.
I see your blurry plumbing in the background.
Yes. So plumbing is. I got some questions about plumbing.
You did a great job.
Yeah.
Thanks to your help, by the way. Like, there's no way I would first know how to do it. Number two,
I haven't touched that tank. That's all you.
So huge shout out to my reef sensei. Sorry to do this on air. It's kind of awkward. But yeah, the thing is, like, I've been getting a lot of tips in terms of like the heights for the pipes, the sand pipes in the overflow box, but I'm not sure what's an appropriate height. Maybe I'll hit you guys off afterwards.
Okay.
I mean,
overflow box height.
So I'm kind of master plumbing.
Okay. Biggest thing, overflow height. One, it doesn't really matter. At least for your main drain, like your full siphon just down lower. The secondary one, trickle one, basically whatever height you want your water box to be, or the flow in the box. And I generally try and keep all my drops less than an inch just so they're quiet.
Okay, got it. I think that's kind of what I figured. But I got a lot of comments saying that, oh, you cut it too much. It should be like almost like, some people even say like at the middle or even near the top of the weir. So I feel like it's a little bit high compared to what I've been seeing in terms of graphs online. But I don't know. I'm still exploring. We'll see.
Okay.
How's the sound? Is it nice and quiet?
It's pretty quiet now. I mean, it has its moments, but for the most part, it's pretty quiet. So I feel like it's okay.
Very cool.
Little temperamental every once in a while. Let's nuance there.
It's kind of settling in. So I got some sand in there, got some rock in there, and people all kind of flipped out when you saw that I put Uncurry rock into the. It's one of those things.
It'll cure.
I mean,
it cures itself eventually.
Yep.
Yeah,
Eventually.
it'll burn itself out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I've just been lucky with this batch because I'm still using the same batch of Bacardi rocks I got from 2 or 3 years ago, and I've pretty much just been either cycling tank with the dry rocks or I've actually added uncured rock into existing tank like a big chunk. It's been fine. So we'll see. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see.
Nice. Did you have bacteria? Get it all started and start the cycle?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
So I did the Dr. Tim's for
Kuna Matata?
ammonia chloride. Sorry.
Okay.
Yep.
And I also added bacteria from Aquarium Monster. It's a German company. It's really interesting where they store the bacteria in dormant form in the cap, and there's clear liquid underneath in the actual bottle. It's separated. So before I use it, I kind of twist the cap, pop it open, bacteria drop into the liquid, and then it kind of revitalized the bacteria. I add it in tank, and we'll see. I mean, it looks like nothing's happening, but I guess it'll be like this for a month or two.
Don't know
The
unless you
weight gain
test.
Have
You
you
gotta
moved
test.
over
Still,
anything?
you gotta know.
I never really test it when I cycle. I just wait for algae to appear. I know. Like these days, people want to keep it clean. They don't want to see algae showing up even during cycling. But for me, I'm just so used to seeing diatom and then hair algae. That's when I know it's good to go.
Well, keep your lights off, and you can skip the hair algae. You'll still get
There you go.
diatoms, but
Yeah.
don't turn your lights on, and then you won't get hair algae. Because
You mean
like tank
you don't
lights.
like look at the shimmers? I love looking at shimmers at empty tank.
Yeah, but then you gotta look at algae afterwards, and you gotta deal with it afterwards. It's a make
You know
work
he's
project.
he's turning on those lights. You know he's
It
gonna.
is. Right when the screen's off, he's like, I don't care. Bring on the hair algae.
Hey, did you move over anything from the sump?
Let me think. I move over the biomedias.
Yep.
I move over the return pump. That's a coral box return pump.
Yeah.
I move over the skimmer, the Vertex skimmer. Rest in peace.
No, not the one
Oh,
sump
the
that was in the
45.
basement from upstairs, the 45.
Not yet.
Okay.
So I kind of want to get the cycling to go a little bit first before moving things down. I'm not sure if it makes sense or not, because I kind of feel bad to just drop all those like live stuff into a brand new system.
Good point. Yep.
I don't know because like when cycling is going, different parameters spiking anyways. So I'm not sure if it makes a difference. I just feel a little better. Like, give a little head start first, and then when things are going, we have at least a little bit of more bacteria that's a little bit more established. Then I'll move the stuff down.
Yep.
Yeah, like it's a good idea to add all that, like media, like your Marine Pure, or Brightwell bricks, or whatever you're using, when you're adding live soft too, because then you know for sure you got that established source of stuff to kind of keep everything happy and going on.
Yeah.
Ask away, Richard. Ask away. Quick question.
Man, Devin, you're good. How do you keep track of the chat at the same time?
And typing and replying.
Multitasking. Story of my life. Gotta do it.
Good lord.
Speaking of bacteria, I added copious amounts of the eShop stuff today. Those like big skinny bricks of it today. I've been removing all the rock from my lagoon tank because it's basically turning into a frag tank because I have no space and I may have acquired a tank shutdown or two. So it's like literally overflowing with corals now. So I keep pulling out rocks. I keep pumping in the sump full of bacteria.
Nice.
Bacteria and all like the little bio brick things.
Yeah, those are cool. That's nice how they stack.
It's
The
just a nice
biological.
size. Yeah. What is the direction of your respective channels this year?
Oh, Richard's
That's
going
deep.
all in.
He's deep, Richard. You go first this time, Jim. What is your channel direction of the year?
Oh, you know what? I need to actually post more than one video every 45 days. I think that would be valuable. Only if it's decent content, I suppose. I'm not spending enough time on it, and I wish I had more time. It's a little busy right now. My son is crew on the middle school play, and I'm supporting that effort, so it's a little bit of work. Generally, I have an excuse as to why I can't, and it's always that kid. But hopefully, I can produce some more content, capture some of the crazy that I'm working on, share some more on the solar system.
How's that coming, by the way, actually?
You know what, that thing, that was really interesting. That was totally set and forget. Climb up on the roof, throw a couple panels up there, secure them, bring that wire down, plug it into that MPP, automatic transfer switch. I'm going a little deep, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Add a couple batteries, some lithium iron phosphate batteries, plug in life support to that outlet, and I was done. And it'll run on city power, on grid power overnight. but then as soon as the sun comes up, it switches back over to solar, starts charging the batteries that are already charged from overnight. And then as soon as the sun gets bright enough, it switches completely to solar and runs all day on the panels.
Very cool. So it's half-time solar power tank, grid power at night when it needs to be?
Yeah, UPS at night and solar power during the day.
Very cool. I actually caught your Instagram live stream when you're talking about that, and you spurred my interest because like a few years ago I put 400 watts of panels on the side of my deck, which basically powers my landscape lighting, and it's extremely overkill for what it is. So I've been contemplating fishing somehow a wire to the attic and then back down to my tank for like a crazy power head return pump battery backup, which might happen, which will be sweet.
Yep. Same panels. Those will totally do the job for you. You know, those things put out quite a bit of power.
I guess the only question will be the whole wire gauge / distance thing for it issue. I think I have 12 gauge landscape wire. I ran up to the attic, but I haven't pulled it anywhere. I just poked it in there.
Yeah, you'll have to go 4 or 6 somewhere in there.
That's gonna be expensive.
It can be.
Mm-hmm. How much do you go for, by the way? Sorry to interject. Like roughly, just like a ballpark.
What the panels are like all in the system that I made.
Yeah, what part of it?
Oh, yeah. Can you hear it, Moki?
Yeah. Like the whole thing. I say if I want to like have solar power as backup for my tank or something, like what kind of number are we looking at?
$1,300, and that's me climbing up on your roof to put the panels up there.
Hey, that's not bad. Free labor.
If somebody has to hold the camera, so it's reasonable. Think about that's certainly less than 2 XR30s.
Yeah.
So think about all the money we put into a tank, and how much money do we actually put into emergency backup?
Right.
Mm-hmm. No
emergency situations, even if it's just not enough. It's not a comparable amount. So I think it's worth it. I can go super crazy with my system and plug my car into the solar charge controller, and that's my backup battery. I think that's excessive. But I also have a generator out there. I just don't want to lose what's there just because of a 12-hour power outage.
Okay. So we're totally like forking here, but what all do you consider important to run on your tank during a power outage? Like, what's your key things that are actually running off batteries?
Depends on season. Those of us who have winters, and we absolutely have to have a heater, and I have a heater on my system on the emergency power setup.
Do you?
So
okay,
yeah, I do. It's a 300 watts, which takes an awful lot of power from the batteries, but it gives me enough run time. If everything went really bad, it gives me enough run time to get home, get the generator out, or plug in the car. To keep power heads and the heater running.
Okay.
Everything else can shut down.
That's fair. I've only ever really bothered or worried about having power heads on battery backup, maybe return pump, just for flow, because I know as long as like saltwater is pretty good at retaining heat. So as long as there's flow, there's gonna be oxygen. That's always my main concern for at least keeping things happy and alive for that period. So.
We're really good about power here. There was probably 10 years ago, I lost power in the house for 2 days. And that was during the winter, and that was before I was reefing. Had I been reefing, I would have been in a little bit of trouble because the only way to heat the house was wood fire in the basement. So,
Well, do you have electric or gas heat out there?
It is gas heat.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But everything was down. There was no electric around the fan. So.
Yeah, fair point. Okay. Nice. All right. What was the original question here? Reefing careers for the year.
Okay. Woo! That was long, Moki.
Woo!
Oh man. Hold on.
Know,
Let me
right? Forgot the topic.
You had all that time.
Woo. Direction. I think it's like direction we're going about channel, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I was planning to do last year or year and a half ago.
Yes.
So my hope was to start traveling more and then actually see where the fish are coming from, like where corals are coming from. That was my big thing back then, because we see the end product, we see the fish and corals here, but where did it come from? But of course, got married, got a son, so that kind of put a stopper on it. But the cool thing is that now I see George, Coralfish 12G, is doing exactly that. He's traveling to Asia and all over the place, just exactly seeing where these things comes from. And I think it's fantastic. So I've been enjoying his journey. So now bring back to right now reality. I think right now my first step is to kind of just get my bearings back, get back into a routine. I feel like it is a little bit older now, a little bit more manageable, so I can start setting back in a routine, like keep pumping out one video a week. That's my hope, to bring it up to maybe 1.5. I don't know.
Yeah.
And get this build done. It's been lagging for a year and a half. Once that's done, I hope to possibly set up another smaller system or frac system, and possibly getting back into freshwater plant the tank again.
Nice.
So it's a little bit smaller. Simply, it's easier because I can do all the content at home. But on the side, of course, I'll still go to like frac swaps and convention and stuff like that whenever possible, and check out local stores and try to understand at least like maybe like one level up from regular hobbyists, like fish. What kind of pain point do they face, especially with the way online shopping is going? Like, is there still a space or a place for fish stores, local fish stores? We say yes, but exactly how? And
that's a whole nother rabbit hole, but I think a lot of them need to work the way and be more online in order to kind of thrive in the online world.
Right, because like one thing I see is that a lot of people say, oh yeah, shop local, right? But I don't want it to almost feel like a charity. I want it to be like, okay, there's a really good reason to shop local. There's a really real purpose. And I feel like that point perhaps is not really that clear yet. Maybe like nobody really cracked it yet, but I think it's there. There's definitely a need for it. So we'll see. That's one I'm thinking on this year.
That's fair. For anything live, I always prefer to see it in person myself and make sure it's healthy and good, make sure it's not photoshopped, make sure it's, as good as, it's supposed to be when I'm going to buy it. So, I mean, anything live, I definitely prefer to buy local whenever possible.
Yeah. I'm with you. Like, especially fish and stuff like that I know I'll just have like one of this in my tank. I want to make sure it's great. I want to see them in person. I understand. Totally.
In-person corals. You just can't beat that.
No, exactly. Okay, so one of the things you were asking about or kind of talked about earlier was a difference of reef keeping in different countries. So have you noticed a big difference? Like, I know you've traveled a lot too, Moki. Like,
used to, yes.
Yeah, well, you used to, but you've been, I've seen your stuff from Fish Street, and you've been over in Asia and different places. Like, have you noticed a big difference regionally in fish keeping, or is it all similar-ish?
It's different. I think there's like I can speak for Asia because I live there. I have a lot of friends keeping fish there as well. I think it's a different mentality when it comes to pet keeping, specifically fish. I feel like it is changing, but at least in the past, fish is seen as disposable, right? It's totally okay to cram a lot of fish into a small tank as long as the biological filtration is able to handle it. So that doesn't really take into mind that the mental aspect, right? So it's different. It's a different world. But like if we do something like this here, or like at least like the quote unquote the road I see online, and pitchfork and torches at your door, right?
Yeah.
But over in Asia or somewhere else near that part of the world, it's totally okay, and people will like, happily share. And maybe there's no right and wrong, because to be honest, any glass box is smaller than the ocean, right? Maybe just like the pot called the kettle's black, but I don't know. It's just different culture. So that's one thing I see as different.
Okay, no, that's fair. The whole Fish Street thing, I always feel bad for seeing all the fish in those like pre-bags. I'm like, it's so tiny. So I feel you.
Yeah. Although that is slightly different. That part is slightly different. Even though they pre-bag it, but they do supposedly release them all back into a tank at the end of the night, and they bag again every day. So if you look at a lot of those videos or photos, you look at those bags, the water is actually really clear. There's not much like waste in there. So that's kind of indicator of them like rebagging it each day.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Still feel bad for him regardless, but I know what you mean.
There's a definitely shock value. I look at it like, ooh. But you know what? I grew up in that environment. I never thought anything wrong with it until like later on when I go back. I was like, okay, this is interesting. Never thought about it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. How about you, Jim? Do you think anything's different anywhere?
I don't have the experience to say. What I'd love to do, and I maybe one day I'll have the opportunity, maybe if that kid decides to be a vet, we could travel around, take a look at some of these coral farms, take a look at fish breeding facilities. Some of that, I would love to see how the technical aspect of aquaculture, what that really takes to make happen.
Have you ever tried to breed fish or do anything like that?
Only freshwater,
Okay.
but that sort of happens all by itself.
Yeah.
I have two clowns at work in the work tank.
Mm-hmm.
They're friends. One's bigger. I'm like, come on, what are we waiting for?
Get it on.
The lights are off at night. Do what you got to do. But no
little
luck
Barry
there
White
yet.
as you leave the office.
See, maybe that's all
Yeah,
it's needed. But
that's the secret.
so far, no success.
No. Okay. Yeah.
How about you, Bob?
I'm with you on that one. I've bred freshwater fish. I've never tried with saltwater. For Celestial Pearl Danios, I was on a kick for trying to breed those back in the day because I thought they're really cool and I could never find them. So I had like hundreds of those at one point. I used to have a big 84-gallon Planet tank with at least 100 of them in there because I kept just breeding them, and yeah, they're cool little guys. But there's that, and then the little shrimp I used to breed, the little freshwater, all the crystals, shrimps, and all that type of stuff. I used to be hardcore into that before my saltwater days. So
Oh, those are awesome.
yeah.
Don't you have to like do something special to water as well, like remineralize them or something like that?
Yep.
Yeah, they're not that
Oh,
easy.
wow.
I don't know what people say like freshwater is easy.
Hey, saltwater is easier than some of the stuff I used to do in freshwater. So when people are like it's harder, I'm like, I don't know, it's less work. Like you got like because I used to do the high-tech Planet tanks, and you'd be like dosing, and before I even knew what a doser was, like I didn't in saltwater, you're like, oh yeah, a doser, right? Back then I was like, I didn't even know these things existed, so I built my own. I like
Wow.
Arduino and dosing pumps and stuff. I'm like, I don't want to dose this every day myself. I'm gonna automate
Been
this.
there.
Yeah, exactly. And then
Trinket. I did it with a trinket.
Trinket?
Fruit. Yep.
Oh, nice. Yeah. No, I had the what I use. This is a little Adafruit. What am I buying? Blanking. Arduino. Uno. That and a bunch of little MOSFETs and a bunch of little dosing pumps I ordered from AliExpress or whatever, and I built my own little doser for like $40, $50. So it was good. But and CO2, injecting it. So when I bridged to saltwater, I'm like, oh, look at this. I got a doser. I already got a CO2 tank. I use it for plants. Already ready for a calcium reactor. So that part was really good. It made it pretty easy to kind of transition over.
Nice.
Jay says we need some Marvin Gaye, mood lighting, and maybe a fireplace. So I'll give that a shot. I'll see if I can set that up at work.
I would like to know if the clownfish start breeding after this. This could be a new discovery. the twinkle of the fire could like mimic the moonlight or something.
That'd
Could
be
work.
spectacular.
There could be something there.
My coworkers wouldn't at all find that odd.
Hey, there's tons of baby clownfish. They're like, they're so cute. Turn the fireplace on tonight. So yeah, it could be good. Okay. One of the other ones on our list. Where to find cheap gear. So a lot of people say this hobby's expensive, and everyone's like, oh, it's just getting more and more expensive. But really, you can put anything into a tank. You could have a plastic bin with a light on it and turn it into a tank. It doesn't have to be fancy. I mean, it can be as cheap or as fancy as you want. There's both extremes of the spectrum. Okay, you guys go first. What do you say for someone trying to get in the hobby on a budget?
Go ahead, Mogi.
All right. My go-to is my local Reef Club's forum.
Yep.
I'm pretty lucky. There's like a really nice size and really healthy and good Reef Club locally, WellMess. And there's always people upgrading, always people leaving the hobby. And usually that's when I find a lot of good deals on gear, corals, and everything in between.
Nice.
So that's kind of my go-to. I know a lot of people have good luck on Craigslist. eBay I've not tried. Craigslist I've tried before, and also yes. But yeah, that's kind of like my go-to places.
Nice.
What's Jim?
Yeah, eBay helps an awful lot. AliExpress is pretty good for if you need to bring in some JBOs that you'll never get customer service on. I think a lot of value, you can derive a lot of value from the work you do yourself. So if you take a tank, a used tank, maybe have a friend that can cut some acrylic for you, turn that thing into an all-in-one, add a pump and a heater, and you have a tank. And you have a tank now for similar price to what Moki did with his 10-gallon tanks. So, and I'll certainly echo the used equipment thing from the local clubs, or if you can find other people that are interested in the same hobby, they're always upgrading something. Whenever that new and shiny comes out, you just wait for a minute and poof, deals
true.
everywhere.
There's your 6-month-old Gen 1 on for half price. Boop, boop, sales.
Yep.
Okay, so one interesting thing, you were just talking about, acrylic and making your own all-in-one. I'm actually doing that right now for a buddy right now.
Oh, awesome.
So I have this like gorgeous 20-gallon auto top-off container that came with my tank with the Waterbox Peninsula.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like polished glass, leveling mat. Like, it's the nicest ATO I've ever seen in my life. Like, it is like, it's a gorgeous 20-gallon tank. So I have a buddy with a laser cutter. So I actually designed all the baffles for him the other day and emailed him the files last night. So I'm hoping sometime in the next week or so he'll laser cut them for me, and I'm gonna make a sweet little all-in-one out of it. So
That's
that'll be
awesome.
cool.
That is blurry. That blurry box behind me. That's what that is.
All right. An auto top off turned all-in-one.
No, laser cutter, so you can make whatever you want.
Oh, I wanted a laser cutter. It'd be great.
Oh, you would do amazing things, I'm sure.
Oh, one day. But I have a friend with one, so that's a good start.
Yep.
Same thing. Tank shutdowns, always a good way to go. I've recently acquired 2 tank shutdowns worth of coral, which is why I have tanks everywhere around me covered in coral because I can't fit them anywhere. I don't know if you can see behind me, but my whole SAM bed in my tank right now is like discs full of zoas. It's like ridiculous how much stuff I have now. So it'll be good. But and then Lagoon, I ripped all the rock out. I'm gonna try and do a grow tank. But yeah, love tank shutdowns. You get some wicked deals because people don't want to sit there and piece it out slowly. So you're like, all right, I'll give you this much for everything.
Nice.
It's a good way to go. Especially if you're new, you need everything. Pick up a whole setup. It's gonna be much cheaper than buying just a couple items. So what else you got? So Moki, you got your new tank going on.
Yep.
Do you still have all your other tanks going, or are you consolidating with the big one?
Trying to decide. The 45 is definitely going down. 45, I'm going to move all the stuff into the new tank. The mangrove tank, which is a 20-gallon, I'm probably going to keep it running. Going to probably run it as a macroalgae tank. I figure it would be kind of interesting. I'm actually thinking about adding African blue stripe pipefish. I think you have them. Yeah, they look really
I've had them. They're cool. They're tiny and they're really cool little guys.
Yeah. Did you have 1 or 2?
I had 2 for a while. And then I was out of town for a while and they disappeared, so I have no idea what happens.
Okay. Hopefully these will show us one day. I mean, you got a big tank.
Yeah, exactly. So, but they're super cool. I like pipefish. I might try and do some more. I've never had a dragon face, actually. I might do that one in the lagoon tank beside me just because, I don't know, be something different. And they kind of go around. And I have lots of acros in there, so they're good pest hunters if I ever had caught something one day. So it'd be a cool one to try.
Yeah, they look really cool. I never had the courage to try them because I feel like they always starve, right? Against fast fish. But in a macroalgae tank, if just them, maybe okay. So we'll see how it goes. The 10-gallon tank I'll most likely take down because I feel like it's been up for a year and a half. It's kind of prove its point. Just give the inhabitant a larger home.
Yep.
But I think that's pretty much it. And then I'm thinking about setting up, like I mentioned before, a planted tank again. I really miss freshwater planted tank.
Yeah.
But I want a small one. I don't want a big one.
Yeah.
I can't imagine myself like on top of mowing lawn outside. I got to get a little scissor and mow the lawn inside as well.
I used to do that. How hardcore were you with planted? Like, did you do like the full carpets and everything?
I tried.
Yeah.
I tried. I was okay. Whenever things get really good, algae always appear, and I think it's the black beard algae. That's the always takes me out. That's the one that always takes me out. But I don't know. Near the end of life for the high-tech planted tank that I got, I actually invested in a nice CO2 regulator. I forgot which brand it is. I think GLA or something. It was like $200-$300. But I never even used it because I got so busy. I was like,
you can use it for a calcium reactor.
Can I use the same thing?
Why not? Same thing.
Yeah.
Don't put it to waste.
Man. Now you
have a new tank. It's a big tank, so a calcium reactor would make sense for you now.
And
I have a regulator and
I have
probably
a CO2 canister as well. That's already filled, never used.
You're halfway there.
Now you kind of. I gotta ask myself: do I want a nice high-tech freshwater planted tank, or do I want a calcium reactor?
I know. Questions.
Now
depend. What are you going to populate that tank with? Once that, right? If you go a lot of SPS, you're going to want that calcium reactor.
I think like if 135 initially, at least like first year or two, I'm thinking maybe like LPS dominant, but eventually kind of move more towards SPS if things are going well.
Another thing,
I can run like a planted tank for 2 years and then switch over.
Yep. You can tee off your regulator and let it feed both systems. Oh, double duty.
Interesting, actually. That's actually interesting. It's feeding like a planted tank on one side, freshwater tank on one side, saltwater tank on the other side.
Why not? Try it. I actually have seen regulators with dual bubble counters.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's cool. That's a cool idea. I like that.
So all you'd have to do is add that to your output and can have them both. I like it.
Thank you for
both worlds.
Fantastic.
I know it's coming now. Excellent.
Metric Cat. Okay, you can do this. Go green. I really
Green.
like her planted tank. It looks fantastic.
Oh, Cass looks awesome.
Yep.
Looks really good. She can hear Orion bark in the background. Sorry, it's probably someone at the door or something. He gets a little excited. But yeah, manifold. But yeah, there's totally dual bubble counters, and then you could run multiple things off one CO2.
That's
I'd
cool.
probably give priority to letting it maintain the calcium reactor properly, but you're still getting majority of the time you're getting all that CO2 to your planted tank, which means your plants are going to grow, and it's win-win.
Sounds good. You don't have a planted tank right now, do you?
Not anymore. Same thing. I was getting annoyed with all the algae, and I was ignoring the planted tanks because I'm giving all my love to the reef tanks, and then the reef tanks took over, and now it's all reef. I find coral easier than plants.
Okay, that's true.
Sorry,
But
for
don't you miss it?
maintenance.
Don't you miss it?
Sometimes. I appreciate them still, but with my high-tech plant tank, I literally pulled out a 5-gallon bucket every week or two of plants. Like, it was so much work to trim it and keep it like pristine looking.
Yeah.
So it was just a lot of work. Saltwater, you're just like, yeah, just dose. Things are good.
Yeah.
I got auto water changes coming. I got the bins. Everything's plumbed up. All I gotta do is program the heads and all that stuff. So the Versas are going to be in full swing. Maybe even tonight if I have some time. So I'm stoked for it.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with the Versa and auto water change. Because I'm using a dose.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because if you listen to the last BRS video, you can hear the dose kicking on in the background doing water changes while they're talking.
I had two doses.
And I actually paused the video. And I was like, that's not my pump. Because you know that once you have one, you know that sound.
Oh yes, definitely. So I had 2 doses. I actually was using for auto water change, and the Versa came out and it was quieter. So I'm OCD about making my tank as quiet as possible. So that one definitely won. And then one's running 24/7 now on my calcium reactor. That's been extremely solid. So auto water change is next. But
those are beautiful pumps.
No, they really are. So my only thing I've been toying with, do I tell it to do a water change, say like once a week? Do I just make a scene? Okay, boom, push a button, 1 button water change, or do I just do a continuous one? So it's just very slowly doing, like a gallon a day, or I don't know. I'm kind of just debating how to program it still, but that's next on my to-do list.
What'd you do before? With the dose?
I've never had one.
Oh, you didn't do it with the dose.
I bought one with intentions of that, and it sat on my shelf for like a year.
Okay.
And then I moved up here and did the new tank, and I finally have access to a water and a drain, and then the Versa came out, and then I went that way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I have 80 total gallon, maybe 80 to 90, and I do 4.4 to 5 gallons a week. So just for a little while during an hour a day, it does some exchanging. I just dump that jug and refill every weekend.
That works. Then do you add and suck out at the exact same time?
No. Well, yeah, actually, I am removing from the highest tank, which is the 5.5 gallon Fuge, and then I refill into the frag tank, so it's not exchanging.
Yeah. Okay. I was just gonna suck from like the drain area in the sump and then put the fresh water in the return area. That way, it doesn't trip the auto top off.
Yep.
Yeah. Then your water doesn't change, and it's good. But yeah, continuous, slowly. You don't have to heat it. It'd be like no impact on your tank, but you'd still get the benefits from it. So I think that's likely what I'll do.
I was just looking to knock off the high points if there were any, because I was historically I was not a water changer, so this was a big change for me, pun intended. But it really makes it easy.
Yeah, it's true.
Do you notice a difference, like once you started doing water change like this versus before?
Yeah, I noticed an increase in alkalinity only because I was adding alkalinity with the water change that I otherwise wouldn't have.
Okay. Are you using?
Go ahead.
Are you using a fairly high elk salt?
No, I'm using HW Marine. I've always used that, so that's right around 8.6 to 9, somewhere in there, and that's my target. Yep. So, but because I was dosing, I was also adding a little bit with the salt water, so it did increase a little bit. Other than that, no change.
Yep. Okay. Nice. Do actually question. So you target? What's your tank? What do you guys target? I get asked this like every other day. So Jim, what are your target parameters you go for?
Alkalinity, I try to stay right around 8.5 to 9. As long as I don't change anything, it'll stay there. I recently added a Reef Bright to the bottom of 2 XR30s that are over the frag tank, and my alk tanked. So what I had done is I fragged a whole bunch of corals. I think it's a combination of a couple of things. Fragged a bunch, gave a whole bunch away at the local meet. So alkalinity rose because those corals weren't in the tank anymore. Some of those corals had been cut. Those corals healed. My alkalinity started dropping, but then I added that light, which really kicked some of those corals into gear, and my alk dropped. But preference 8.5 to 9, somewhere in there.
Okay, that works. I shoot around for 8.5 too. So, all right, Milky, what's your target?
My target's 8. I laugh because I swing so much. 8 for alkalinity, calcium maybe like 420. Magnesium for some reason has always been high in my tank, so I don't really pay too much attention to it. Yeah, can't really bring it down.
Nope, that's fair.
How about you?
Elk, I generally shoot for 8.5. It bounces a little bit. I've been trying to tune the calcium reactor on the new tank, and it's almost there, but I also keep adding like coral constantly, so it doesn't help to tune it in. Yeah. But starting to get there. Once I add on, 2 more light fixtures onto it, I'm sure it's going to boost it up again too when it's actually getting a little more horsepower. Lagoon tank, since it just tested, 8.23 at the moment, so that's dropping. It was 8.5 yesterday. Again, I added a ton of coral yesterday, so I'm going to have to up my dosing now. So, but yeah, generally 8.5-ish. Meg, 1350, 1450. I tested the other day. I think it was closer to 1600. I don't know how. I haven't dosed it. But yeah, same thing. Calcium, I don't overly worry about, but above 400.
Yeah.
And hopping in a little bit, Dev, did you use Alcatronic, right? Do you still use it?
I do.
How do you do you feel like it is a game changer? Because I'm kind of debating, do I want a auto tester on the 135?
I have one on each tank.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, so
that's that answer.
All right. So Lagoon tank. I have a doser. I actually have a Dostronic. I have not installed it yet. I need to get on this. Okay. But I'm going to eventually let it dose for me and tweak my dosing based on my elk. So I don't have to worry about it on the Lagoon. And this is going to be my frag tank. This is the one that's going to fluctuate lots because I have big corals as well as fragging stuff. Like, it's going to change all the time. So I think that's a good use for the Dostronic. And then the big tank, I have that one. And each of them only test every 12 hours right now. And all I really care about is the trending. Like, is my elk, is it stable? Is it up or down? Right? And if it's going up or down, if my elk is dropping, I open Mobius. I said, okay, add 1 more mil to the Versa. And then I'm back in business again, right? Yeah. So it's just little tweaks. So that's kind of currently been doing it. So one tank, I'm going to let it do its own thing with the Dostronic. So that'll be a first for me to actually let it control stuff. And then the other one, I'll just tweak myself as needed.
Do you miss the ability to test the other elements like calcium and magnesium? Or I think you got Reef bot, right?
Do I miss it?
Yeah, do you miss it? Or do you do it manually? Okay.
Well,
tell us.
Do I miss testing? No. However, last night I actually tested both tanks. I have to replace one of the pH probes of Alcatronic, so the readings have been a little bit off. So I was manually checking everything to kind of confirm it. But yeah, I definitely don't miss it. I appreciate when things just work, and I'd be like, oh, yep, things are good. And then
sorry. I think let me rephrase it a little bit. Okay. I know Alcatronic only tests alkalinity, right? Yes. It does not test calcium and magnesium, which are the big 3. So do you miss the fact that it does not do those, or do you have other means?
With a calcium reactor, I don't care because calcium is what it is. It doesn't really matter. As long as elk's stable, calcium's going to be good. Magnesium, I had it testing once in a while because it can slowly drift over time. I'm using the 2 Little Fishies Remag chips in mine, and I found I had to add a lot more than what the bag said, but I kept adding it. Now eventually my mag's always high, so I think I finally hit that saturation point.
But it's not something that you have to test so often that you... Okay, got it.
Like, I tested maybe like once a month before I had the Reef bot. Now with the Reef bot, I had it testing it once a week.
Got it.
And then also tested nitrates and phosphates once a week. So.
Cool.
But even then, like, I could probably test it every other week. Like, they don't change that much if you're fairly consistent in your feeding habits. So,
got it. Can I ask you a question that may be kind of tricky for you to answer?
You sure can.
You have no sponsor.
Give it to me. Give it to me. Ask away.
If I take both of them away from you,
yes,
which one are you going to miss more?
Which would I miss
if
more?
If you're going to use one between Alcatronic and Reef bots, if I take both away from you, saying that, hey, Devin, you can only get one back.
That's a tricky one. Okay.
Yeah.
So, pros and cons for everything. Okay. Alcatronic is most testers force you to test a certain amount, right? Which bugs me a bit because I don't really care to know, 8 times a day. I don't care. I don't care to know 4 times a day. Alcatronic, the longest you can go is 12 hours. So right now I have it testing every 12 hours, which is perfect for testing my elk. Now, I finally gave in and let it put the wastewater back into the tank because they claim it's safe. And I didn't for the longest time. And I had to empty the waste every month. Like, now that I never have to worry about it, it's amazing. This is nice that it goes in. And that's good. So I definitely appreciate that. If anything's out there, elk is 100% the one you want to test the most. Okay. Now, where Reef shines is you can only test when you want to test. So I only have testing once a week right now. And as far as I know, it's the only tester that you can test at whenever you want, right? I can test once a month if I want. So I really appreciate that. I don't know if it would be something I want it for every single day testing, mainly because it has all those little vials and I'd have to go in and refill them all the time if you're testing every day. Now, I have talked to them about that. They are going to come out with bigger vials so that you can go longer without it. So like a double-sized vial type of deal. So I know that's in the works. I was talking to him at Rap New York about it last fall, so I know that is eventually coming. That will be good. I have not used it for elk. I only use it for nitrate, phosphates, and mag. But I really appreciate that I can only test once in a while with it. So it really depends what I'm testing and how often I care to test it.
Got it.
Yeah. So I don't know if that answered your question.
No. I got it.
But still, that one still has a waste I got empty. I'm not going to dump all the random test kits back in my tank like the Alcatronic one. So ideally, if that was the one, I'd have that one. I'd want it plumbed into a drain. Like I'm super hardcore trying to automate everything, so it's less work for me. It's like my goal.
I mean, the less you have to do, right? The more you can kind of enjoy the tank, and unless you enjoy like refilling valves and dumping out water.
Exactly, not so much. So like even like the Alcatronic like solution, like on the new tank, I'm gonna put in a gallon tank of solution so I don't have to change it for like months and months and months. But yeah, I'm trying to automate absolutely everything on this. This is kind of like my new tank's like the dream build type of thing. It's my last upgrade for a long time, so I'm trying to like make it awesome. So I'm obsessed with automation though, so that's part of it.
Yeah, very cool. I feel like both of you guys are so like tech savvy and so much into DIY and so many great ideas and the ability to pull I guess like different things from different hobbies into this.
Yeah,
it's great. I mean, it's opened my eyes and I'm learning a lot. It's fantastic.
Yeah, well, there is so many different things that can kind of translate too from different areas. So I mean, like a lot of the stuff that like dosing pumps, like that's repurposed from like medical. Like there's so many things that have been repurposed from other industries to our needs, and it kind of works both ways, right? Of like, like the one DIY I built like years ago, like the DIY wasp water bottles was like, oh, here's a drinking bottle. Here's like a sexy dosing container for like $6. And now I see them everywhere and I smile every time. Like, yeah. Like it makes me happy to see that now. Yep. It's like something I made up with like 3 or 4 years ago now. But I don't know. There's so many things you can repurpose. And even if I'm walking through like a dollar store, I'm like, oh, what can I use that container for? That's cool. Again.
Yeah.
Like once you get in that mindset, you just kind of get things rolling.
You know what I wish somebody would pay a little bit more attention to? Every single time I got a new fish or new corals, I'm trying to acclimate them. I'm trying to do like a dripper and stuff like that. I just feel like the whole process is so goofy. I got to like start the siphon, control the drip rate, and then come back and dump the water every once in a while. I feel like
You want an automatic fish acclimator?
Oh, that'd be great.
Could be handy.
One could dream.
Could be. There's a will, there's a way.
Oh.
Could be a new product.
Got to teach you how to operate an Arduino. Okay.
Oh, you can bag it. Good. Okay. So speaking of Arduino, my next DIY Arduino project is going to be a kind of like an auto flush system for my RDI. So I've been thinking about this lately. I even bought the solenoids already. They're already sitting here waiting for me to build it. But I'm going to have it pre-flush my membrane for 30 to 40 seconds. And that's going to turn off, and then it's going to flush pre-DI for about 2 or 3 minutes to kill any TDS creep. And that's going to let my water flow after that.
You gonna base that on pressure? Are you gonna be sensing pressure so you know when?
I'm just gonna do it on like a timer type of thing.
Okay.
Like so when because I have the apex is still there right now, so I put in because I just set up my auto water change bins. So I have 2 optical sensors in my RODI bin. So when the bottom one that's just above the pump gets tripped, it will turn on the system and refill it. So I'll just add it to that. So I'm just gonna make a circuit that when it gets power, flush this, flush that, and then do your thing.
Gotcha.
So just super basic, give it power, everything flushes, then it goes back to normal operating mode. I could put in a pressure sensor or something, but I don't know if I need it or not.
Upon draw, then it loops back.
But then I would have to kill the output flow from the pressure. That's what I mean. So I'm like, this way just makes it super simple. We'll see.
See, you want super simple. I've got a 20 GPM RO at work, and that I steal purified USP spec purified water for the work tank. So that's my ATO.
Okay. For the work tank, I was just gonna say, so you walk to work with empty buckets.
No,
on your way home, you're like,
I
lug
walk
'em
from
to the
where I
car.
work. Yeah, I carry a jug across the parking lot and refill it.
Yeah.
It's the jug of shame.
Nice. For the work tank, or for your home tank, you're like, Sweater's coming home with me. Thank you.
Well, before I had an RO, they used to come home with me.
Awesome.
That's where I
love
got
it.
good water.
Hey, RO is game changer. Okay,
totally.
I before I was even reefing, I bought an RO system when I was doing the shrimp thing, because I started blending tap water with the RO water for breeding the crystal shrimp. And then so even before I had a reef tank, I finally broke down and bought the water, whatever, RODI system, because I just got tired of hauling buckets. So I can't imagine how people haul them forever and ever and ever. It gets old.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
I used
go ahead. Sorry.
When I first started, it was hose water.
Yeah.
Then I moved up to the water that would come out of my refrigerator because I thought that filter was spot on, and then that wasn't the case.
Hey.
That tank was a mess forever. Once I got the RO, fixed everything.
That's fair. It's better than tap water, so I mean that's a step above.
Hey, I used tap water for like 10 years.
How was your algae issues over those 10 years?
It's fantastic. The back wall's always covered
I
by
remember
algae.
you, Mogi, when a long time ago about getting that RO.
I mean, I became really either really good at algae control or just kind of accepted the fact that algae is part of the reef. Yeah, I used it for about 10 years. It was okay. Like, honestly, it's not terrible. I guess like we're kind of lucky too. Like around here, the water's not super terrible.
Yeah, okay. That helps.
Yeah, water. Yeah, game changer.
Nice. So, one interesting thing. I was asking, how large are my new containers? They are 42 gallons each. I wanted bigger. I would love to got custom 60-gallon ones, but the price was like more than double. So I went with like the best fitting size within their sheet of pre-made molds. So that's what I went with.
Just need to work up a shaker to auto mix the salt.
I have a power head in there.
No. To add salt.
To add it.
Refill that. There you go.
I like it. We could. Okay. At Wrap, there was like crazy expensive, but someone or Macna, they had some kind of auto salt mixing thing going on there. It was kind of intriguing. It's in one of my videos somewhere, but
it's just a vibrating hopper that you activate. Then you just base it on time.
If we had a good salinity probe, we could actually make that happen. Or if you just pre-rationed it into like a hopper, I mean, you could do that too.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And look at brain power.
No,
happening right now.
I'm just pulling from pharmaceutical right now. I know how we drop stoppers into a bin to put them on top of a vial.
Okay, we could vibrate the salt into like a scale, and it could stop when it has the right weight per 40 gallons or whatever it is. Bloop, drop it in. Power head kicks on, mixes it up.
Magic.
This could be automated.
You just sit there and watch your tank. You never have to give up, right? Yeah. You just sit there, you watch it. You just got to have the dog bring you a beer.
Yeah.
And you're good.
That's true. But actually, my buddy's trained his dog to do that. He had a little rope on his beer fridge, and he always had a beer with a cozy, and he knew to open the fridge and go grab that one beer. It amazed me. It was awesome.
Oh, man.
See,
he just needs a tank.
Right.
Nice.
The tank, auto salt, auto testing.
Yep.
Just watch.
Maybe we'll work on this as a side product, Jim. This could be good.
That's awesome. I like this. If you need a beta tester,
okay.
I'll find ways to break it.
A web designer.
I'll find ways to break it.
Perfect. It'd be good. I don't know. We could do something fun with this. I think if you... Okay, do you know the floating hydrometers? You could probably use that in some way to read the level of
it. Oh, you could do optical, sure.
No, not that. But the hydrometer moves up and down physically, like they bob in the water. And those
those, yeah.
Yeah, because the digital meters, I don't think are quite at the point where they're reliable enough to interface with and read it. But the hydrometer would be. If you had some way to like read its level in the tank, right? If you had a little tiny barcode or something on it, could scan it, then you could somehow do that to figure out your salinity. And that would be accurate. There's potential here. This may be a new thing.
Make it happen.
I know.
You just need, you need the HANA checker, the HANA salinity checker, which seems pretty solid. You need that with some outputs.
How do we interface to this baby? So, I don't know. There's potential here. Could be good. Man, now I want to build one. What have you done to me? The wheels are already turning. I'm like, how can I actually make this happen?
Well, you can just scan the word. You don't have to like really interface with the hand checker, right? You can. I mean, it's displayed there if you can just read it.
No,
Oh,
that's
that-
hydrometer would totally work.
No,
You put a
I think the
little switch in it.
hydrometer would be the most reliable way to do it.
Better.
Yeah, because it would be less failure points, and you wouldn't have to worry about calibrating it because it is what it is already.
Gone pretty geeky here.
Yeah, I know. We've gone down the geek rabbit hole.
Metrocat asked what kind of camera I'm using. I'm assuming not this camera. I'm assuming Instagram.
Your lovely blur, Instagram, both. What are you using for Instagram? What's your go-to? You're mainly an Instagrammer.
Yeah, I am. Instagram is a Sony A6000 with a
Good
30mm macro prime.
Nice.
And then if I need to reach in there a little bit, it's a Nikon older D7000 with a 90mm prime macro.
Nice. Awesome.
Great photos.
Yeah, you do have lots of awesome shots. And for people who don't know, what is your Instagram handle?
It's right there. Telegram. Just read the chat. Telegraham.
Perfect. So if you guys aren't following him, make sure to check him out. He's always posting awesome stuff, especially if you like to geek out. I know I like to once in a while, so it's good.
Yeah, appreciate it.
This may be a future project. I like this.
My mind's being blown right here. I'm just like, all right, well, I'll use the finished product.
You're like, I'll test it. I'll make sure it works.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Yep. This camera. So what are you using right now? I think everyone's impressed with the blur effects right now.
Yeah.
I've had a few people ask about it.
No, that's just that's Skype. Skype's doing that through old cheesy Logitech webcam.
Yep. Which one do you got? Which old cheesy webcam?
On 910.
Okay, that's a decent one. I got the 920. Same thing.
Okay. Yep.
Nice. What about you, Moki? What's your camera?
Camera, like the one I'm using right now, or for Instagram?
Both.
Yes.
We want it all.
I'm using my MacBook Pro from 2015. Apparently, it's really old. I did not know it until I couldn't run some stuff. I was like, what? For Instagram, I just use my iPhone X for the most part.
Nice.
For vlogging stuff, I use my Sony ALX100 Mark V.
Nice.
But I'm keeping an eye out on the Fujifilm X-T4 that's coming out end of April.
Really?
That one looks like a winner.
I looked at the XT2 a while back, so it's a good upgrade. Nice.
Yeah, it check off every single box basically for people who do vlogs.
Oh, perfect. I will check that one out later.
Yeah. What are you using now, by the way?
Yeah.
All right, so the one you guys see me on is a 920 Logitech camera. The one going to YouTube is an older Sony A5000 camera that goes in a capture card. And then Instagram is a whole slew of mini cameras. I have an underwater point and shoot that I'll use. So sometimes I use this underwater.
You actually bring it underwater and just...
Yeah, it's waterproof.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, cool.
And then sometimes it's iPhone. And then I also have my A6500. And then sometimes I use a GoPro, but it's this like random blend of whatever's inspiring me at that moment to go with.
The 6500 is nice too. That's what I was looking into as well.
Good.
Have you ever tried putting a GoPro kind of like through your tank?
I have. Okay, so GoPro, if you have good light, the GoPro is good. If you have low light, it's kind of questionable.
Right.
But as long as you have good lighting, it does really well. It's not really good for super close because it's such a wide angle lens on it. So as long as you keep a bit of a distance from stuff, then you get really good video from it. Just don't be like too up close and personal because it won't focus properly. That's yeah, the quick and dirty. Like I took it diving in the Caymans last year when I went for all the coral restoration stuff, and I was getting too close to some things and they're a bit blurry. But when you're back a bit, you're like, okay, it looks really nice.
Same with the Insta360 One X. You just can't get close, but
Yep.
you can see everything.
Yeah, if you keep like a foot away, you're pretty safe. But if you try and get too up close and personal, like, big question.
Yeah, the 360 camera, right? It's not waterproof, is it? Oh, do you need a housing?
You can get a housing. There's two housings. There's dive housing and a wandering around in a pond kind of housing.
Got it.
Yeah.
Because I wonder if people have ever dropped a 360 camera inside the reef tank. That'd be interesting. Gotta look around and.
That'd be cool in 3D. Try it. Do it.
Have to change the lights.
Yeah.
It doesn't like the blue.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think we
to
turn
You
on
can
the
just
white.
whiten your lights though. Like assuming you have adjustable LEDs, sorry. Then if you just lower your blues or whiten your whites, then it kind of compensates. I used to always do that. I had just like a little profile for my lights. I'm like, oh, whiter mode. Here's camera. Here's video mode. And watching a movie drops it to a low blue. Here's movie mode, so it's not distracting. Like I had all these little different modes for the lighting.
That's a good job for Mobius.
You bet it is. especially in those scenes.
Yep.
I mean, I know a lot of people like to maybe like change the light spectrum when they're taking photos, but I wonder if the color rendition would suffer versus like using under blue light and then just kind of white balance to fit with the help of a gel filter. You know what I mean?
If
Like
you can white balance it with the blues on, you get a little more color pop out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you lose a little bit if you go to the white, but it really depends on the camera. Like on my cell phone, and here's another tip: if you open the camera while it's looking at the tank, it does a better job of color balancing than if you on something else then go to the tank. So have it on the tank and then open the camera app, and you'll get better colors out of it.
Interesting.
So,
Great tip. I'll have to try that.
Yep, good one. Someone was asking a minute ago, advice on someone new to YouTube producing content. This is a good one, actually. Okay.
Ooh.
This is a bit of a thing. So content producing, pro tips. Okay, you guys go first.
What? How about you go first?
All right, fine. Okay.
No, because that was like, oh, this is a good one. You guys go first.
All right.
I'm ready to speak.
Okay. So pro tips. 100% be authentic. Like a lot of people are like, oh, I want to try this product. What is this? Like if I don't need it, I don't care about it. I'm like, no, I'm good. Thanks. Blah, blah, blah. And like if someone gives me something and I don't like it, I won't do a video on it. Like I won't put out a video on something I don't like. Because I'm never gonna I steer you guys wrong, right? So it's always gonna be, if I like something, I'm showing it because I like it. So that's one big thing. So always be authentic with it. A big thing for me is being regular with your content. I know Moki, you have your video every Sunday. I have mine every Monday. Like, last Sunday night, I was up until like 1:30 in the morning editing a video to make sure I had it out for 7 a.m. because for whatever reason, I picked that time as my go time. So
why'd you do that to yourself?
I don't know.
Richard Blank.
Yeah, I end up doing noon because like I realized if one rendering is bad, I have time to do one more run.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyways, sorry.
I probably should have, but I don't know. Now that I'm committed to it, I feel guilty if I miss it. Like I feel guilty. Like I'll stay late, I lose sleep, whatever, and I just make sure I get a video done. So being consistent is a big thing. So yeah, and good audio too. Make sure you have good audio. Don't have crappy audio because that's never any good. Aside from that, you can get away with crappy video, but as long as you got decent audio, because people listen more than they watch it, right? Everyone's multitasking these days. Half the time I'm watching YouTube videos as I'm like cleaning the kitchen, it's on the TV, and you're kind of half watching, but you're listening. So make sure you have decent audio. So those are kind of my initial pro tips. All right, who's next?
Those are great. You can pick a person to go.
All right, Jim, go.
No, that was it. Edit out the uhs. If you're going to spend a little bit of time, don't offer uhs and or you can clean up the audio without chopping up the video too much. So even if there's a section where you say an and you don't want an just copy and paste in some dead air from the audio track, and it will eliminate that because people will get to the point where they start counting it, and you don't want that because now they're paying attention to how many times you're saying or they're going to turn it into a drinking game, and you probably actually that would help. Maybe that would drive some content, but take your time with it. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of the new kid here. I did this professionally for a while. I think it just you got to make it entertaining. Moki does a good job. Actually, Devin, you do a good job too. You make it entertaining, compelling, give people something they want to look at. Don't make it too long. It doesn't need to be long. It just needs to capture their attention for a little while. Mm-hmm. And then try to find something that you enjoy, because if you're just doing it to make content and you're not enjoying it, then it's that'll come across.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, lots of great tips right there, especially with the and stuff like that. I'm guilty, and I spend a lot of time chopping those out. So I see a lot of jump cuts.
Yeah.
My audio all the time.
All right, Moki, you're next on the hit list.
Yep.
Okay.
That's one. Two.
That's why I don't like live stream. Okay.
It's worth it. Raw, uncut.
Let's do this again.
No editing.
So, I think like in terms of, I guess like YouTube specifically, right? People always say thumbnail and titles are really important, and they are. I always see thumbnails and title has almost like a direct correlation with click-through rates. The number of views your video gets, at least on my channel, I can see see trends. It's really indicative of like how good I did with title and thumbnail for that video. Audience retention rate is how good your content is. I feel like that's kind of like an indicator. Like if your content is good, people stick around and watch the whole thing. So they kind of go hand in hand, right? If people are not cooking food, they're not gonna see your content. So definitely spend a lot of time on the thumbnails and the title. And there are a lot of different people out there saying, giving different advice in terms of what's good and what works. And I'm sure in their own way, they all works, right? So just find the way you like most. The other thing that I had to make a decision on for my channel pretty early on, I have to peg myself in either I want to be more informative or more entertaining. I realized pretty quickly that it's really difficult to be both. Because when you're being funny all the time, people may not take you as seriously. Of course, there's some like really fantastic people that can kind of toe the line and do well in both areas. But I quickly realized that I'm not that guy because number one, I'm like a intermediate hobbyist. I don't have that knowledge. And if the moment I start trying to sound smart or trying to like pass on something that I just read somewhere else and have no experience, then immediately I'll lose authenticity. So really quickly, I realized that, okay, you know what? Entertainment is the way to go. And I like vlogs, and the way I kind of get more into how to edit it and stuff like that is by just going out and consuming similar contents in different fields. For example, not so much maybe from the Reef arena, but go out, look at vlogs from, dude, I'm a big fan of Logan Paul. I know people are like, oh, what? But I really like the way he edits, the way he presents stories is fantastic. The way he cuts stuff. So that circle, like the vloggers. And one added benefit coming out of this is that vlogging actually is in some way easier to cut together than a lot of the more informative stuff. For example, like when Devin and Jim, they do some like tutorial, you see their phone screen on the side and do all those crazy stuff. That takes a long time, man. And like with less and less time these days, I got lucky going the vlogging route, just easy. Because I'll film something and just cut it, slap them together, and that's it. But the other pretty important thing that I learned through this process is actually one thing that Jim mentioned earlier. Like keep things to the point. For example, like if I say I'm gonna go from point A to point B, I don't have to show the whole step where I open a door, drive, and why do that? Just skip directly there because people can make the connection mentally. They like you know you're there already. Of course, you got there somehow. It's important how you got there. Maybe not, but if it has to do with the storyline, then add it in. So kind of really cut things down a little bit to not waste people's time, right? Keep it concise, and that will keep people engaged. So that's
real quick.
Small, quick fun things. Go ahead.
Sorry. Know somebody who has been doing this for a while. It's super helpful to. I bounce questions off of Mogi all the time. Know those people.
Yeah, I love that.
Ask for help.
Yeah. Nope, true that. One thing that you were talking about a second ago on the whole editing thing, that's one thing that I've learned. I've gotten much more aggressive with editing over time, where before it'd be a much longer drawn out video, I'm like, that doesn't provide value, chop it out. That's too long, chop it out. Like I've got really aggressive and just cutting down the lulls and, like I'm like my last video, I'm like, here's a container drilling 4 holes. Do I really need to show drilling 4 holes? No, okay. Here's a hole and here's like a 2-second clip of it. Just that, so it's more to the point and not just like la-di-da-di dying on. So
you threw your stepper bit up there. I was like, my man.
All right. Those things are so handy.
They are the best.
It's like, nope, little more. Perfect.
Yep.
So it's good. So I don't know. What are some other kind of good tips you guys have for a new reefer, or since we were in the planted realm, someone transitioning from planted to salt? You got some coming over. What would you recommend to them? You used to be in planted, Moki. Jim, did you have planted before? Everyone's throwing
I have one
fresh water.
downstairs. I have one downstairs that I drink coffee next to every morning. Just take your time. Go absorb everybody's content. Don't just find one channel and then follow their directions. Go take a look at everybody's information and then try to form your own plan based on that, because somewhere in there you'll totally be successful. And just try to absorb as much content as you can.
One thing is too, and I 100% agree, because there is a bazillion ways to accomplish the same thing, and it's not like one guy is right, one guy's wrong, right? They're probably both right, and there's multiple ways to do it, and there's multiple ways to succeed. So get a good understanding of all the different options, then decide which one fits your lifestyle or your methods or what you believe in, and then go with that.
Budget's a big one. Understand what
Mhm.
your budget is. Set your budget, and then like you said, I mean, you can.
I failed miserably there.
So do I. So I've done it both, right? I've done the super cheap one at work,
Hmm.
and I've done the not so super cheap one here. And if you try to hold yourself to a budget and then find a method that supports that, I think you could be successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. Wise advice. Wise advice. And one other one to throw out there: pick a tank kind of size or style, whatever fits your life that you're actually gonna be able to maintain it and deal with it. You know, don't go super big and then you don't have time to do a water change, or it's too expensive in salt, so you never do a water change, right? Like pick one that fits your means and your lifestyle.
I think buy an ATO before you buy the tank.
Yes, that is
Don't
why.
have a reef tank without an ATO. If you don't have an ATO, go buy one. It should be the first thing you buy before the tank.
Unless it has a lid, because I don't have one on my little Red Sea tank with the lid, and it like evaporates nothing because it's like completely sealed. It's probably terrible for gas exchange, but it's fine for coral.
Hey, kind of a random question.
Yeah.
Comments. Have you guys ever heard of a ATO that's kind of basically just like a inverted water bottle?
I did it. I cut a
yeah.
bottle off.
My buddy built one of those. He had one on his tank for his
Really?
animal for ages. Yeah, it's just hydrostatic. It's called.
Yeah. I made one out of a wine bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if like ATO is too expensive and you just want quick and dirty, that could be one.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, my buddy literally did that, and he 3D printed a little mount on the side of his tank. So as it drops, this bloop just comes out of the bottle. If you see those cat and dog dishes, that's all they are, right? Have you seen the ones with the bottles in the dish? Same thing.
Yeah.
Super simple.
Yep.
Someone in the chat, set your budget and throw it away. Yeah. It's safer if you just don't keep track.
You feel better.
Right?
What is budget?
Mm-hmm.
Then you can help out the new people when you start selling all your old equipment that you don't need anymore.
There you go. Okay, one other bit. Okay, if you're not on a super tight budget, buy good equipment once from the beginning. When I started out, I upgraded so many times. I'm like, oh, here's the cheapest I can get into it. And I'm like, oh, I want a little better. Oh, I want a little better. Oh, I want something better. And I've upgraded like 8 times. And it probably cost me double what it would have cost me to just buy like the good version in the first place. Other food for thought.
Yep.
If you know you're the type of person that's going to be all in, you just buy good stuff from the beginning. Like some people will dabble. I'm the kind of person, like I, kind of somewhat obsessive personality with it, where if I do it, I'm going all in and doing it. So then just get the good stuff from the start. It'll save you upgrade path and excess money later.
Totally agree.
Very true.
Yep. But yeah, ATO, definitely. 100% get one. Use the bottle above a tank with the drip system in the early days. Yeah, there you go.
I set up an old pharmaceutical Flexicon pump on my floor because I was going away, and I just did it on time.
Yeah.
It would just drop a drip in there every once in a while. I almost got it.
Is that the super big beastie dosing pumps from back in the day?
Yeah. Well, twin 3-lobe, so 6-lobe, super precise doser that I didn't need for an ATO.
Yeah, that's fair. That's overkill. I like it.
But a way to learn.
But isn't it crazy the difference of like even calcium reactors like 4 or 5 years ago, those and the Masterflex, these big beastie pumps people are using. Now we have like the Kimura and the Versa and everything that's so tiny and it's just as good, and you can dial it down to a fraction of a milliliter. Super crazy.
Yep.
So pretty cool. How's the tank? Tank is awesome. Although I did get dyno in my tank, so which is funny because at first I was like, oh no, dyno. But I was like, well, I'm helping people fix it for so long. I guess it's good that I actually have to deal with it myself one day. So I did the little regime, slightly modified version, but I hit it hard with some good old Dr. Tim's and some vodka and lots of aeration, and it's basically all gone now. But my tank was super cloudy, forced bacteria bloom to fight it off the last few days. So it's finally getting back to clear now. So it's good.
It's nice to see dynos starting to become something that is relatively routine to resolve. That it's not that difficult now, as long as you follow some of the directions out there. I think there's something you published, right?
Yep, I did a live stream with Cruz way back when.
Yeah.
Probably last summer on how to beat it, and I loosely followed it and did a bit of tweaks but yeah, basically got rid of it all. So
yeah,
it was good. It was odd to see it though because I didn't expect it because I'm like I have a lot of fish in here. I'm like there should be no nutrients. Like this should not be an issue. But yeah, there you go. So I had dealt with it. Yep, exactly. and I added a lot of stuff at once. I'm like, and I feed a lot. I'm like, there's no reason there should be zero of anything in this tank. So you don't know. The theory is that a lack of either nitrate or phosphates can cause dino. I had some. I had high phosphates, and I think I had 2 nitrates. So maybe it was the fact that nitrate was higher than phosphate, because usually it's the opposite. Maybe, I don't know. But had some. Got rid of it. Life is happy again.
Cool. You documented it, right?
I did part of it. I don't think I fully did it. It should have been a full video. It's like half cell phone clip documented.
Yeah, I think that video would help a lot of people, I bet.
Yep, it would.
Yeah, I'll edit into something at some point.
That's one of those primary questions. Dinos or I mean, you see it all the time.
Yeah.
I have this in my tank.
Oh yeah. Well, I thought at first I just thought it was diatoms. Like, whatever, that's normal, no big deal. And then and after a couple of days in the morning, I'm like, my sample is white. The light comes on, it's brown. I was like, hey, this is photosynthetic. I was like, no. So, yeah. So, anyways, it's gone. So I'm happy now.
Good.
Okay. Oh, shows coming up. Are you guys going to any fun shows in the near future?
Oh man.
Yes.
I was really hoping to go to the Niagara Fall once because I heard a lot of great things about it.
It's gonna be good.
I was this close, but then we kind of sat down and planned. I was like, okay, driving up there from where I am around DC, it's gonna be like 6 or 7 hours, maybe a little bit too tough for the kid.
Yeah.
So regrettably, I could not make it. But
that's too bad.
Yeah, I understand that somebody here is going.
I will be there in a couple weeks from now. It's gonna be good.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think there's quite a few people going too.
I think so. There is. I know Michael's going. It's too bad you can't come though, because it would have been fun. Jim's too bad you can't come.
No, that's play weekend.
Yeah.
That's when we're having some shows. It would be awesome to go.
Mm-hmm. I think.
But yeah, I think they're trying to become like one of the biggest show in Canada, right?
Yep, definitely.
You were there last year.
Yep, I was there. I was one of the speakers there last year.
What was it like? What was the vibe?
It was good, actually. It was really good. I had a lot of fun. It was yeah, it was pretty. It's like the biggest one I've been to in Canada. It was a pretty big show, and I think they probably are the biggest one. So this year the venue is a heck of a lot bigger. I think Mark Levinson's coming too.
Yeah,
and I know a few other people. So yeah, I don't know. It should be a fun weekend. I'm excited for it.
That'd be a good show.
And I may have 2 tickets to give away for it too.
Oh,
no.
I know. I'm debating what we should do to give them away though.
Are you giving it away on the stream or
Yeah, sure.
like contest later?
Let's do it. The question is,
so you gotta find a way to give it away, right?
I know. Okay, so only enter if you are somewhere in the vicinity of making your way to Niagara Falls, Canada for the show, which is in the 23rd,
yeah,
21st, 22nd. I was looking at the date at which I'm gone. So how do we? I don't know. What should we do for a contest? Something fun. How do they enter? All right, guys. What's like a good skill testing question or
skill testing question?
I know. Ohm's law. No one will get to go. But yeah, I know it should be a lot of fun.
You could do something like you can like in your mind, or you can write down like your favorite coral or something, and people just like start screaming out.
Oh, that's
what you think it is, and then the first person that matches it wins it. Something along that line.
I have actually said what my favorite coral is a few times. So the first person in the chat to get it right, I'll accept the loose answer. It doesn't have to be that specific coral, but that type of coral. You get 2 free tickets to the Niagara Coral Show, where you can acquire said coral if you're ambitious.
Now we're staring. Now we're staring at chat.
I know that's actually tricky though. I don't know. People would have to pay attention to my Instagram to know this because a bunch of times I've said it.
I mean, you can just keep typing in like random names of different corals. Right?
This is true.
I feel like is that too easy?
I don't know. I feel like this is a trickier one unless you follow. I don't know.
Okay, so it sounds like it's not a common coral that Dev likes.
Yeah.
When are they starting now? Like, are we actually doing this?
There's one right there.
There's one right there.
It's going already?
Yeah.
Yep.
Rock flowers is not it, but I do love them. That's a good one.
Euphilia.
That's cracking me up.
Euphilia. Varieties. Nope.
How specific do we have to be? Like, for example, can they just say like torch coral? Do they have to be, or do they have to like dragon so torch?
No, it doesn't have to be super specific. The first person to get it close. I do love torch corals though, but that's not it. There's one specific type that I like more than others.
Of torch or coral?
Of coral.
Yeah.
I can't say specifics, so I'll give it away.
I like Mighty Nanotank's torch that he's not ever going to get back.
You need to bribe him for one.
They do look fantastic.
Yeah.
It looks nice in the tank. I'm not sure I want to send it back.
I think Tank Addict also has his pair of clowns, storm clowns.
Yep.
Beautiful clowns.
Yeah.
Black Storm and Mocha Storm.
Those are cool. A-cans are also awesome, but that's not it. I have a ton of A-cans in my new tank on my overhang. Love it. No, not scientific. I'm not going to be mean. We're getting there soon. Indo Gold's nice. Coral, I do have one of those. I do love that one too. Oh, snap, Matt P. You know it. Milliporas are by far my favorite.
Nice.
All right, Matt. Yeah, Matt P got it. That is.
Congratulations, Matt.
The Palmer's
Very good,
Blue
Matt.
Millipora is actually my favorite, but Matt P got it.
Oh,
Millipora.
really?
All right, Matt. If you message me on Facebook, I will hook you up and get you a free pair of weekend passes.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Well, Matt, you can't actually make it though, right?
Oh, can you make it? You have to be able to come.
You can't guess right. Then you got to scroll back up to see who.
Okay, Matt, let me know if you can actually make it to the show, and if you can, then those tickets are yours. And providing you can, message me either Facebook or Instagram on the Reef Dudes account, and then I will hook you up with those passes. Oh, that's awesome. But yeah,
Very good.
hands down, my favorite coral that I currently have is the Palmer's Blue Millipora. I don't know why, but I love it. Coming up on a close second, the Orange Passion, starting to get some really nice colors. And I recently acquired a Walt Disney, which is looking pretty good. So hopefully that keeps doing well. So
Walt Disney's are weeds.
I hear that actually. So
Oh,
hopefully-
they grow
Why are they so
so
expensive? They
fast.
grow
Yes.
fast.
I have no idea.
I chopped the top off and I put that in my big tank, and I took the base and I put it in this tank. So between the two, hopefully it'll be good.
I bought a nub. I don't know,
Yeah.
years ago. It was that big. It was tiny, and now they're everywhere.
Oh, really? Eh?
Yeah.
First world problem right there.
Rough.
No,
How
no,
are
no.
the colors on it?
So it depends where you put it. The ones that the frags that are living in the frag tank, they're down low in the 40 breeder, so they're getting about 250, 300 par. They have a hint of color. I have the original nub that turned into a colony that died, but then it came back. It wasn't dead. It just looked like it was. That's a good tip. Don't throw anything away until it's dead.
This is true.
That thing is under 500, 550 par under that DIY light, and that thing's super colorful. It's awesome.
Oh, nice. So lots of par is this
Lots of
basically
par.
what it all comes to? Okay.
Yeah, if you just walk it up, it'll be fine.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
Really
they're
cool.
yeah. So I don't know. I'm excited for it. It's one of those fancy ones that I've always kind of liked it, but I'm like, I'm not paying that. But then I bought a tank shutdown and included it, so it's like, yes.
Orange Passion. That's another good one. I have two of those. Those things are beautiful.
Yeah,
Bird.
I got it.
Yeah.
I got a branch in each tank. Same thing, just to. That's what other. Actually, here's another tip. If you have multiple tanks, if you frag one, put it in each tank. That way, for whatever reason, if you lost one, you still get your backup colony. So
See,
it's
I
always
do
good
that
to have
with people.
Yeah,
I bank at multiple people's houses just in case I screw up.
it's wise, right? Because then you can get it back again if you ever need it.
Here's a free, amazingly fancy coral.
Mm-hmm.
Keep a piece for me. Other than that, cut it up and do whatever you want with it.
So
That's what I do.
the loophole to me on that plan is my buddy was shutting down his tank that I did that when me and him just gave each other coral. Like anything we knew, we're like, all right, here's a chunk. We just gave it to each other. And now it's just like, he's shutting down his tank, so I bought all his content. So now I have all his coral, which is probably like half my old coral, but all back. Circle of life.
Yep. I'm waiting for Moki. Once Moki gets that tank up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Some
it's
stuff-
like
some
everybody
stuff's
locally
moving
like
back.
banks at Jim's house.
Yeah,
It's like,
people
hey,
give me
Jim,
stuff,
Yeah.
but I give it to a friend Shane, Lynn, Reef Nerd. She's awesome. She can grow out most anything. She gets stuff. Moki's gonna get his clam back.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Give me some space back in my frag tank.
Speaking of that, I have no idea where I'm going to put it or if it's going to fit, but I have also acquired like a 10 to 14 inch clam in this tank shutdown. It is like this. It is like a football. I'm like, I don't know where that's going to fit. I kind of want it because it's so cool, but I have no idea where the heck I'm going to fit it, so I got to figure that out still.
What kind of clam is it? Do you know?
No, not a clue. I'll snap a picture when I'm over there next.
That'd be awesome. That's awesome.
But I don't know where I'm going to put it. And maybe it'll end up in my Red Sea and take up half the tank, but we'll see.
Did you ever go to Artfully Acrylic, Moki, when they were open?
I did. I actually got my drop-off tank from them.
That's right, you did. That clam they had in that display tank
Yeah.
from Magna was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Huge.
I'm a huge fan of like big clams, and I was actually looking into the gigas when they started appearing at OLA.
Yeah.
I was like, I was
Come
like,
on.
but I stopped myself. I stopped myself. That
Well,
was
you got a big
once
tank now for a big clam. Just saying.
That's
yeah.
right.
Look at all that empty tank space. Look at that
There you
gigantic
go.
clam that could be in there.
Oh, you're taking this one clam. I know a clam you're getting first.
I know a guy with a clam.
Like
I'll
when you
give it
think
to you.
if clam
take
go
off
back
on
in,
it.
maybe like a year mark, half year, a year.
What? How long have I had it?
No. Like how long before a tank is mature enough for clam? Like, do you guys think?
You go
When nothing,
first.
when stuff doesn't die. Right? When everything else in the tank is happy and it's stable.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that works.
yeah, probably
So-
a year.
I have
Oh,
mixed
great.
opinions on this subject. So they say, your tank should be so mature yet for so long. At the end of the day, I think it comes down to when you have a stable bacteria population.
Agreed.
And that bacteria also affects the fish more than coral. In my earlier days, I bought like some big coral that was too big for my tank. So I had it living in a 5-gallon bucket with a power head and an extra 15 above the bucket and a heater. That was it. And I just did like a water change every like 3 or 4 days to get my nutrients back in. And it was happy, it grew, there's no issues. My new tank, like I pre-cycled my rock for a month or two, mind you. But I also had a lot of coral at once. I had 2 frags RTN on me, but out of the ridiculous amounts that I threw in, everything else has been good. So overall, as long as you have like a decent stably bacteria culture and everything else, I think it helps. And I honestly think having a bunch of fish also helps because that's also coral food and everything else into it. So it depends. But if you're brand new, then it's probably best to let your tank mature and settle. If your first tank, don't have any media transferring, all that type of stuff.
Yep.
Kind of along the same line. I remember I heard something. I don't want to say who I heard it from. It's from somebody really pretty notable saying that cycling a tank is mainly for the fish. Coral, they don't really need it.
I agree. Because your corals aren't producing that much waste, right? The whole point of a cycle, I mean, it does play into it. I'm not going to say this is 100%, but in general, your fish poop, you add food to the tank, that creates ammonia. Ammonia is toxic to fish, right? So part of your cycle is converting ammonia to nitrite, and then the next stage of the cycle goes from nitrite to nitrate. So in each step of the way, it becomes less toxic.
Right.
So corals, they don't really produce that much waste. So you could literally have, here's a big bucket or here's a coral tray full of fresh water. Once it's properly mixed, everything's there. As long as your elk and your parameters are stable, like your corals will be okay. Like if they got flow, they got light and stable parameters, they'll be happy. Like it doesn't need to be this crazy cycle system.
So are you telling me that I can add coral to my tank right now?
Now,
No.
here's the caveat. You have
Let me have it.
Fucani with a lot of organics and stuff on it, right? So
Yeah.
you're going to
Yep.
have some type of nitrates and phosphates and stuff leaching from all those organics until it cycles itself. Or cures itself, rather, might be a better way of saying it.
Yep.
So if you had like a Marco Rock or something that was super clean, I wouldn't really hesitate to throw in some LPS and some other stuff. Acros, I'd maybe let it settle for a month or so. But as long as your elk and all your other parameters are stable, like for the most part, you're going to be okay. So, but if
All
you,
right, well,
but because you have all these organics in there, they're going to increase your nutrients, which may annoy corals more, right?
yeah.
Now, if you were going to, I would still dump in some bottled bacteria because that's going to help kickstart that and boost it along, right? Like I used the Fritz Turbo Start back in the day. Then my most recent tank, I used the Brightwell Microbacter Start XLM. And I dumped in like copious amounts of that to cycle my rock. And I also dumped in more copious amounts when I added the fish just to make sure it was good. And I tested my tank every few days, no ammonia, nothing, it was all good. So I really do believe the bottled bacteria has come a long way in like really helping you accelerate things, and especially for new reefers who we all know are impatient and no one wants to wait months and months and months, especially we could spend $30-40 on a bottle and have your tank in a week instead of 3-4 months. So
but stick with the method, right? Don't method hop. You see some of that sometimes where people will go different brands for some reason. Just stick with the method, follow that recipe.
And certain that 100% same thing, stick with the brand. Like for instance, certain bacteria can actually conflict each other, right? Or they can try and consume each other. So sticking to one brand is excellent thing. Like even with like the Brightwell, like I used their ammonia product, the Quick Cycle, I think it was called, and it has a bit of nitrate and phosphate in it to feed the bacteria. Like it's all a system that works together to help you get there quicker. So good way to do it. And I see Brightwell Aquatics in the chat.
Yeah, nice time.
I know, but I see a little hand raised on this one. I was like, yep, there it is.
Oh, there.
But I used it and it worked well. And like, I wouldn't recommend this to a brand new reefer, but like I pre-cycle my rock and I added a lot of fish at once because I got them from a tank shutdown, and I didn't have any ammonia because of all like the mixture of the pre-cycling plus dosing a ton of bacteria in like the day before I added all the fish, right? So you already have that army built up to handle it and deal with it, and then you're not going to have issues.
So. Yeah, that's one thing that I hope to maybe explore a little bit in the future. Those instant cycle bacteria model. I mean, these are some really bold claims, and it seems like some people have good luck with it. So at some point, I would love to just try it out, just to see. Maybe I'm like a dinosaur. I still believe in the 2 months cycling.
So okay, so in that 2 months, all you're doing is building up an army of bacteria. That's what you're doing in that 2 months, right? Like every bacteria rules the world. Like it honestly does, right? Everything we do is bacteria. You know, this beverage is full of bacteria. Every surface you touch is bacteria. There's bazillions of them. You know, when you throw something out in the compost, it's bacteria that breaks it down, right? Everything is bacteria. Like they literally rule the world. Like there's bazillions of tiny little enzymes, bacteria everywhere. So in the reef tank, you're building up the bacteria. So by using some of these products, all you're doing is giving them a massive army to start with to kickstart that process rather than doing the slow waiting game.
Yeah.
So both ways work, right? You know, it's not saying one's better than the other. Both work. One just does it quicker, but at the end of the day, you can take the slow road or the quick road. You're still going to get there.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. That's my 2 cents. Or like $1.02.
I like it.
Yeah. All right, what else we got? Any other questions while we're on? We've been on for quite a while, so I won't keep you guys too long. But any other questions? Last minute questions? What do you guys got? So many fantastic folks in the chat. All right.
This is a good chat.
This is a good chat. I had fun today. It's been a while since we did like a big multi-person co-stream.
This is cool. We gotta do it again at some point.
Let me know. Let's do it anytime. Had fun having you guys on. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This is a lot of fun.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys have any questions? What do you want to know, Jim?
I'm looking at all the names that people are guessing. Sorry, I'm just scrolling up on the chat right now. Green Star Polyps. Yes. I think Devin's favorite corals, Green Star Polyps.
I appreciate them.
Yeah.
On their own island.
Polyp,
they're
actually.
nice color. Just don't put them on your rock or your glass, but on their own island, they're nice. Nice color.
I have them on my glass in a frag tank. Mokies.
That's
a good strand. Those are like nice.
That's a good color.
Yeah. And they drop off there.
How do you get rid of brown algae in a mature tank? It depends what that brown algae is, to be honest. Live rock in a filter sock. I don't know.
That's what Ben just did.
Why
Mighty
would
Nano Tank just did the same thing.
Why?
Well, so he and I were having a discussion. We were texting back and forth, and he is a little old school, and he likes the idea of live rock.
Mm-hmm.
I argue that live rock. Well, no, I won't go there.
Go there.
Live rock is a little bit like meeting someone at 3 o'clock in the morning at a Cracker Barrel parking lot, and going and hanging out with them. You don't really know what you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Bacteria in a bottle, you know what you're getting. It's a product that's relatively proven if bought from a reputable source.
Okay, so he had legit live rock.
He got live rock from his LFS.
Okay.
But he also seeded with bacteria. So but he put that live rock. We made a little joke about it, but he put that live rock in a filter sock.
Is this to contain the potential bad things?
Theoretically, right? Given the pore size of that filter sock, it's probably not going to stop anything at all. It'll stop solids potentially.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But
it'll stop the bristle worms or whatever, maybe. But
yeah, maybe. But
okay.
Aptasia will jump through that. I don't know. I find live rock to be risky, a little bit of an old school approach when maybe I think the hobby's evolving into something different, and we just talked about it a whole bunch. But if you could find a piece of clean live rock, throw it in a filter sock, hope for the best.
That's interesting. That makes sense why you did it now. I was wondering why you were putting rock in a filter sock, but it makes sense. That was a good analogy. It's a great way to say it.
It's a risky one.
Yeah, that's fair. Speaking of Aptasia, my current strategy, if I see them, I super glue them now. Because I know, like, some people say if you cut them, they can spread. And I've tried other things. I've tried injecting the calc and stuff in the past. I literally just pull, if I can take it out, and I'll just smother a big mound of super glue over it so it's contained and trapped and it cannot spread.
Encapsulated.
Yeah, I had 2 that were in the tank on some like rock full of corals that I moved in. I was like, nope, rip it out and just like smother it in super glue.
I got a copper band. I moved from tank to tank, and that thing is a voracious eater. It's super happy fish. Eats blackworms like crazy, but loves Aptasia more.
But does he like acans as well?
Nope, and he doesn't like clams. That fish touches nothing. Just the food I give it, Aptasia.
He is a good fish to have. You keep that guy.
I got super lucky. Well, yeah. Oki brought that clam over. I put it in my tank, and people saw a picture of his clam with my copper band, and everybody started flipping out. And I was like, "What? I didn't know."
I didn't even think about it. Like, what?
And then I learned, but got lucky. I got a good fish.
Yeah, you did. I acquired about a third of my acans from my buddy's collection because his copper band was kept nipping them all. I was like, thank you. So, fed my acan obsession. It's fun. 10 micron stop will stop anything. Yeah, I see your logic. It makes sense why he's doing it now. At first, I'm like, why would you put rock in a sock? But all right, Ben, I got you.
But it's also going to clog in a matter of a week, too, right?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, there you go. It's a risk you take. It's full of good bacteria. Might be bad bacteria too. It's a gamble. Depends on the Cracker Barrel and your luck of the draw, but yeah. Oh, it's good. All right, guys. I think we're doing pretty good, but it's been like an hour and 40 minutes or so I won't keep you guys all night. But I do appreciate you guys coming on today. Matt, congratulations on winning some tickets. So make sure you hit me up on either Facebook or Instagram, and we'll figure out how to get you those tickets.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Now, if you guys are not following these 2 wonderful gentlemen, Moki, aka Inappropriate Reefer, YouTube and Instagram, and Telegram. You're not on YouTube, are you? You're just on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube. I'm on
Are
both.
You? Oh, I gotta follow your YouTube channel. Is Telegram same thing?
Just started. Yeah, don't expect a lot.
Okay.
No, well, it's been around for a little bit, but I don't release videos all that often. I need to pick that up a bit.
Slacking. All right. Well, I follow your Instagram. I will follow your YouTube as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Make sure you guys are too. All right, guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. As always, if you did, hit that like button if you're new. Make sure you subscribe, and we will catch you guys in next week's video.
See you guys.
Thanks, y'all.